want to introduce myself. I'm Christopher Darden. This is our first event, the ROI. And we're basically bringing the ROI to different cities. We're starting here close to my hometown, one Norristown, but two just the Philadelphia area. And the reason for it is, as I've been in the real estate for the last year and a half, I noticed the lack of it in my neighborhood, in my area. So I'm just looking to bring back my relationships, my resources. Looking to deal with other people in the area that's already active and looking to, make great return on real estate investment. So we're just building. We're a young company, expanding, mainly in Philadelphia, also doing business in New Jersey. Also, Jim Morrison here, who's going to be a guest expert speaker tonight. My big homie, my mentor, so he gives me a lot of the game on everything that's going on in the industry, but as a national brand and doing it nationally. So bringing them out here and actually bring what he has to bring to the table as far as resources, give more knowledge, give more game on how you actually affect the market, how you actually come out here and make money from nothing to something. I'm also the CEO of the Morrison Academy, which actually teaches real estate investment model from start to finish. So we start out teaching you wholesaling, how to make money in real estate with no cash or credit. We also teach financing, different creative methods to actually acquire real estate, whether it be traditional, whether it be creative financing techniques, 401ks, IRAs, hard money, all different kinds of lending, credit, everything. We also go through buying and flipping and also buying and holding. So this is the founder of the J. Morrison Academy, also the CEO of J. Morrison Real Estate Partners, which is the national model that I was just telling you guys about. So just here to just build, give out information, connect, and grow with people that are actually out there in the market, and hopefully we can all make some great returns on our investments. But I'll turn it over to Jay Morrison and kind of speak his piece. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
It's hard to clap the cigar in your hand. You don't want to ash with nobody. But really big applause to Chris. Kudos to him. It's so exciting for me to watch Chris put this event together. Such a successful event, amazing, beautiful room of people, young entrepreneurs, and to watch our relationship grow and him mature as a man, as a person, as a businessman. From the time that I met him, probably February of 2013, I want to say, and I did Power 99 radio here in Philly, where we hosted an event as being Lounge in Philly, just doing our success tour. I just going to different cities, just I don't know, adding value. So we were going to jails and prisons, juvenile detention centers, radio stations, private networking events, high schools. Like we were just going to major inner cities and just offering what we knew, what we had to contribute towards uplifting people, especially in the minority community. On our key success tour, during one of our events, Chris was one of the attendees, and he just bumped into me, came outside, and told me about some business he was working on. We built a really good relationship. He started working in my company under the Young Minds Kids School Uniform Collection as an intern doing social media. And as we transitioned into the J. Morrison Academy and other business models and ventures, he started working his way up into marketing, different aspects of the company, to become the vice president of operations, and now the chief operating officer for that particular business. All while I've been able to mentor and groom him as a real estate investor on building his own business. And while he's working at a high level for our brand and for our academy, he's still building his own business as an owner, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of Chris Darden Real Estate, and doing some amazing things and set up a great system for himself, a great business model. And that's going to help fuel other businesses that he has already been working on, like Near Lifestyle, his concierge company, and it's all about growing and building, but he's doing it in phases. And he has great support from us. But just to see his evolution and maturation in 2 years, and just growing and soaking up knowledge, and really just becoming who he wants to be. And so, in that spirit is really what I want to talk to you all about. I'm not going to come in here and give you a lecture or lesson about how to flip a house. But most of you already know that. Those who don't know that, 400 videos on my YouTube channel, and you should have been already in the academy. We've been teaching this forever. Flipping a house is very, very basic. Buy low, sell high. Understand your costs, understand your market, understand your profits, sell high. Wholesaling house, very simple. Put yourself in the middle of a deal legally by signing a contract, find a buyer, sell it. You got to build a brand. So there's a lot of real estate components that are little nuances, but greater than real estate, what it's all really about is becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a boss, and creating opportunity for yourself. And creating opportunity at will. That's really the magic. So I often talk about brand magic, but there's business magic. And that's what I love. See, like, I fell in love with real estate because it was my first introduction into legal business outside of spending 10 years in the streets as a drug dealer, by the time I was 15 to 25. So in that 10 years, I learned a lot about selling drugs. Like everything you know about cooking coke, compressing coke, bagging it up, cutting it, flipping it, transporting it successfully, and everything else in between. And so in that process, there were systems that I learned about drug dealing. Like there was a time where when I was selling drugs, all I would do was count my money, give my money, put the operation in motion, and then collect my money. And I would never see any drugs, I would never see any transactions, I would never have any conversations, except with the young lady that took my money to my connect, got my coke, brought my coke to our stash house in Irvington, New Jersey, got her friend, blended the coke, dumped it out, compressed the coke, and then shipped it down to Baltimore, sold it with my relationship there, and brought back my money. It was just an operation and system I put in place. So when I got into real estate, so I dig even a little deeper. So in that whole process of being a drug dealer, that was my business. It wasn't like a rap song for me. This was like, I went to jail 3 times. I had 3 felonies. I did 2.5 years in prison. Selling drugs was life or death for me. It wasn't fake. It wasn't college boys selling weed on the side. It was my everyday, what I did, how I got through life. So because I had to protect myself and carry a gun every day to make sure that I'm not vulnerable, no one's robbing me or extorting me, or I'm not in bad positions, but that would be reckless of me to carry a gun with no gun license and 3 felonies in the open in my car. That would leave me vulnerable for stop and frisk and search and go back to prison. So therefore, I needed a secret compartment in my car to stash my gun. Again, a system to cover my vulnerability. No different than there are people that you make sure that you're feeding while you're in the streets to make sure that you can protect your ass as you're maneuvering through the streets and you're getting money. There's always vulnerabilities in every business, and you have to find systems in place to protect those vulnerabilities. It's called strategic thinking. No different than with the prison. When you go to prison, there's a system how you survive. I got the Rikers Island, C-74, upstate New York, Eastern Shore, Maryland, DOC, Baltimore, Maryland, Cumberland, Maryland, Annandale, New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, and Somerset County prisons, all unscathed, and got through my prison time with no incident, all by understanding how to protect my vulnerabilities and have a system in place to make sure I'm successful with my end result. My end result was getting home without a bunch of stories that adversely affected me. So all those survival skills that I had to learn, I took into the real estate world, into the business world, and understood that in real estate it's the same thing as flipping a house. If I go purchase this house, what are my vulnerabilities? Or when I was a loan officer doing mortgages, if I'm doing a loan for the king here, what are his vulnerabilities? So I can protect those for him, and make sure his loan goes through, so he gets to the close table, gets his house, and I get a commission check. It's all the same models. It's where am I trying to get at the end of the day, and then what's my path to get there, and what stops me from getting there? I need to combat those things. So it's the same thing as we get into, as I got into real estate again. I was excited about it because it was it was a new game for me. It was a new business, being a realtor, being a mortgage professional, and also being a real estate investor. So it's all me looking at my landscape, my chessboard, and saying, how can I maneuver through and get to where I'm trying to go? Which I had a lot of success at doing, and then that led into me getting excited about other businesses. And that's the whole core of what I'm teaching Chris, what I'm doing with all my mentees, is like, we start with real estate. It's a great foundation to base, because real estate is the easiest business to run. We don't teach real estate as a hustle. We teach real estate as a business, which is why Chris started in real estate. Why have Jay Morrison Real Estate Partners? Why we have real estate companies and systems. While he can be the chief operating officer for the academy, we're putting in 12 to 16-hour days building out the new school and an accredited school and a bunch of other versions and ventures and everything else that we're doing, but he can still run a real estate company on the side as a business while it runs itself. It's because he's able to put in place systems. So for all you, as you grow in the real estate industry or whatever it is that you're the heights you're looking to reach, you have to understand that it's all about creating systems, putting people in place to run your operation, protecting yourself, understanding where you're vulnerable, and then growing and trying new things. So for us, it's all about ownership. And like, so why I talk about systems so heavy is because the point I'm trying to make is it's all greater than real estate. What you learn in real estate is the best practice to learn systems. And then those skills that you learn in wholesaling, flipping, or financing houses, strategic thinking, creative thinking. When people say using private money, for instance, like we teach that, using private money. All private money is a system that you have in place of presenting a deal to someone with more money than you, giving them to either finance your deal as an investor or partner with you on the deal. All because of the systems you have in place for the deal. And it's the same process for everybody and everything. And that same system for financing a real estate deal, you can use that same system to fund a business, another business. The same thing is involved. Instead of bringing a house to that investor, you're just bringing a business opportunity. Or there's consistencies in you bringing that business opportunity. It needs to be in writing, just like you would bring a house deal in writing. It needs to be packaged. The vulnerabilities need to be identified. Okay, so if you're bringing someone a house, you're going to tell them about, well, this is the acquisition cost, this is the repair cost, here's the market value, here's our potential profit, here's your return on your investment. No different than pitching a business. Here's our startup cost and our reserves. Here's what we project that we can make. Here's the market and why we think we can make what we can make. And here's what your potential return on your investment would be. Are you interested? It's all the same thing. So real estate helped me get polished and prepared me, since I didn't have a traditional education, being a high school dropout to alternative program graduate and not having touched a day in college. I had to learn all my business practices through experiences and on the fly. So while I do so many of these engagements, is really to just share, because I found, and I've never been to college, so it's really hard to make a true comparison, but I do know that I've taught I've lectured at Rutgers Master Schools for Business, and I've talked to other college graduates. I have many of them that are colleagues or people that I do business with on a national level. And I do find that it's a lot of what they don't know. But I'm able to teach them a lot, never having been to college. All from real life experience and understanding basic practices. So I try to give a lot of that back in a very plain, simple, and fast forward way. There's ways for each and every one of you to be successful, whatever business is you want. And if you've been to college or going to college, that's great. I think you can compound that, which is everyday practical skills. So the practical skills is whatever it is that you're trying to get accomplished, you've got to create a system, a process to get to your end goal. Whether it's real estate or not, you've got to put the work in to create that system. See, everything that we're a part of, there's a system behind it. That's what we don't realize. Like McDonald's, we talk about McDonald's being a great franchise, and the fact that it owns a lot of real estate as well. It's real estate is one of its primary businesses. What makes McDonald's sustainable is the system of the franchise, how it works, how each of the startup when they all work the same way. And so it's no different when we look at just our everyday lives. Like, what do we have? Everybody grew up and went where? The school system. We all went to a school system for all of our lives, right? It was a system that just operated and it functions the same way. It's no different than any other business that we're a part of. We're all operating in a system. So whoever owns the best systems, they win. So it's not just about chasing a dollar and chasing a revenue, because that money can, if there's no system behind it, you can get a great lick, right? You can get a great come up, you can stumble across greatest deal. Anybody can get lucky and make 100 grand, 50 grand, 70 grand on one good real estate deal. You fell across a little old lady, she's losing her house, you found some young guy's aunt died, left him a house, you wanted to give it to you for a low price, you sold it to an investor you already had, and boom, you just made 50, 60,000. But can you do it again, repeatedly? And can you do it on autopilot? that's where the business magic comes into place. Is where you can create systems for where that can repeatedly happen for you, no matter where you're at, what you're doing. You have the people in place to be able to run your system, your business model. So when we talk about like real estate, and while Chris kind of put this event together, this is an opportunity for all of you to find. Everyone has different talents, and different niches, and different expertise. So that's all part of a system. It's finding people that you collaborate with to help you work your model in a way where maybe you have more time on your hands if you're not working full time, but somebody else is. They have a little more money, you have more time, or vice versa. You guys are sharing the same market. There's ways you collaborate with people to actually work your model better and stop getting off of me, my. I can make more money if I did it myself. Or could you make more money longer if you did it yourself? Will your business sustain at the same rate if you did it yourself? And that's one thing that I learned through this process of building businesses, building a national brand, is that we have to take the time to put people in place to be able to support that vision while you're able to multitask and do other things. People always say, Jay, I see you doing so much. I see you in Baltimore. I see you protesting here. I see you speaking there. I see you educating here. I see you doing real estate here. So how do you find all the time? Because I don't have to do everything. I don't have to be every place and do everything. People are in their positions to run the roles that they have. It's like being a team. You got a point guard, you got a shoot guard, you got a forward, you got a center, everything for a reason. Everyone plays for a reason. So as you all get into your real estate businesses, you have to really get keen on treating your business like a business. All the way, just not from the LLC and just the branding, but how do I get the controls in place to make this happen? Who could be looking for properties for me while I'm doing X, Y, Z? Who could be doing that work? Is it a virtual intern? Or is it a virtual assistant from overseas? Is that a family intern? Is that somebody from a Boys and Girls Club, that a mentee? Who could be doing this work for me while I'm doing X, Y, and Z so I can get more work done at once? So who could be finding my properties for me? Who could be building out this business plan? Who could be doing this marketing? Who could be punching the buttons on my social media? Who could be setting up this website? We don't have to do everything ourselves. We put systems in place. And as you mature in business, the more you're capable and functional. It's a big thing that's missing in the black community, It's the fact that we're very talented, but we don't have much experience and knowledge on creating systems that are needed to build big wealth for a long time. And so that's like part of my, I guess, the higher end part of my message is that we don't want to be caught up with just thinking just wholesale or just real estate. I understand sometimes we try to get a dollar, like bills is due, like I gotta get a dollar right now. And I get that. I come from that. So sometimes, yes, we do have to get on our feet, we have to work our way to get some money, but you have to have in your mind at all times that I need to build a sustainable business for myself and build real systems long term for me. Is the bottom line. You want to think long term about whatever your real estate company is called, whatever your business is called. Treat it as if it will be big one day, and that you want it to be big one day. You want it to be big. A business is not a business until it runs itself without you. When you're the have to be the catalyst behind your business, you have a job. And you have a great job because you work for yourself and not work for someone else, but you still have a job. We want to get to the point where we no longer have jobs, we have businesses. And then our job is managing our businesses. So that's just like my high-level message that I felt compelled to share with you guys today. Always do question and answer. You guys have any questions and answers about what I just spoke on, or anything in general that you might have come here with a question. I'm happy to answer any advice. Or not. No, anybody have a question?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What was one of your biggest triumphs when entering the industry of the real estate process?
Well, it's not my biggest, but I guess I would say it was my first biggest, was when I went through about a year in the industry, and I bought 3 houses, but none of them property, I didn't buy them right? So that was my first learning experience, how to buy right. So the properties weren't making me any money. I had long-term plans for all of it, but they weren't quick flips, they weren't producing much rental income for me. But I was a loan officer doing mortgages on the side, I was a realtor. And so I closed a few deals, but it was about a 4 to 6 month drought where like I wasn't making any money. And I was just sinking to the point where I had to start like borrowing money because I wasn't making any. At that point, this is a year removed from me being a drug dealer, me being in the streets. And I wasn't used to not having money. From the time I was 16, 17, I always had money. So that was new for me, and keeping the faith that this business thing was actually going to work. So, you know, I was really on the last month of my had it up to here, like I'm about to go back and hit the streets again. I just can't broke anymore. And at that time, and in that period, I don't know what happened, but one of my deals closed where I was the realtor on both sides of the transaction, so I was actually listing the house, but I also was finding the house for the buyers as well, and for the seller. Yeah, so I'm house for the buyer, house for the seller, and I was listing the house, and I was doing a mortgage for the buyers and the mortgage for the seller on a new property. So that deal closed that month. I was about to give up, and I think I made it like 13 or 17,000 or whatever it was. It wasn't the most money in the world, but at that time, that was like 1.7 mil. Like that was that was everything. So that was like really, I guess, my biggest deal, because that kept me in the industry. Had that not happened, I was likely about to just give up. That's why I pitch persistence and patience so much to my mentees, my proteges, because I've been there. And I know that time when you feel like, man, this ain't working, and that's where it's like, you gotta understand that to build a pipeline, we call it, it takes some time. You start from scratch. No one knew you as this person. You're trying to convince everybody that you're this person now. So it took time for it all to build up, that snowball, or whatever we're gonna call it. And then that month I hit, and then the next month I might have closed like 3 to 6 deals. And then, you know, it just never stopped after that. The cash register just kept going. Then I got to the real big deals of 90,000, 70,000, 250,000, like hits as investors. You know, it just grew my business. And then my momentum was, the momentum was there. Like, so you guys know, momentum is real. We talk about it all the time in the office, where you go from, you know, when you're feeling bad, how things feel, and then when you feel like you can't be touched, it's like, that's real. So we try to find ways to, we call momentum the Momo. We try to get the Momo back. So we know we're going to a tough 3 or 4 days. It's like, all right, you gotta acknowledge it, shake it off. Like, you know, put in your best outfit, you gotta do something. You have to get that Momo back. Like, what do we gotta do? And the way I found to get the Momo back is by getting short, easy wins, short, easy victories. Doesn't even mean closing deals. It means like, all right, those new business cards you ain't picked up yet, go pick them up. Like, that book you didn't read yet, pick it up, start reading it. Like, do things that start triggering positive energy, positive results in your business. Get those little wins, those little things you get to do that you haven't done, get those out the way then. You can't get the big hits, get on base. Take the bunts, get on base, get the second base, and now pick your momentum up, and then you'll, so anyway, as that momentum carries me, also like my personal confidence was higher, because now I knew it worked. At first, in theory, it was like all kind of working, and it made sense, yes, but as I saw that it actually worked, and that the business model worked, and my business worked, that was very encouraging as well. So, great question. Yes, sir.
Remember so that you had like a list of like 9 million or something like that? Did you ever sell that?
No. We're still friends. I had a listing for 9.7 million for a French Chateau in Jersey as a realtor outline. These were clients that became really good friends. Like, we started off with, they interviewed me for like 6 months first of all, so that built a friendship. We were drinking wine, I'm eating Russian soup and cabbage and all this kind of things. So it was a real vetting process by them. We got really close. We listed their house. I made it clear from the beginning this is overpriced, but my client was an artist and he felt the value of his art was what it was. I told him, if you're gonna put it out at that price, I'm gonna back it. Let's go. And so we never got it at that price. Then as, I guess about maybe a year into the listing, we dropped down a little bit. And as I was kind of transitioning into other passions of mine, we just had to talk about, well, what do we want to do with the property? Because, again, I'm all about being intentional. So as I started finding out that my passion more was teaching and mentoring and being a community activist, a civil rights activist, there's only so many projects I was going to be able to work at one time. When you're trying to sell a $7 to $9 million house, that takes, you want to do it right. You do right by your clients, you do right by your friends. You need to be very intentional about your marketing of a multi-million-dollar house. So we just agreed that we work together some other capacities, some other ventures that we have, and that we would, allow him to go on with a listing with someone else while I pursue things that I wanted to pursue. So I want to be very intentional about who I'm becoming and what my overall goal is. Yes, sir.
When you list the property for sale, do you typically get an appraisal done first before you put it on the market?
No, just comps.
Okay.
Just comps.
So that one particular house, the $9 million house, doesn't have an appraisal?
No, and we did comps. We knew what the market value was. I did, and I made clear what we thought the market value was. But when you have a client that has spent 2 years building a house and rearranging it and living in it while they're building it, and it's all custom and 2 floors, shoecase, and his or her closet, and they put a lot of work into it. I respected his, because I'm like that. I know what I'm worth for my value, and I'm not in it for, I'm just gonna try my shot. So I respected him for trying his shot. Again, it's really good for mine. So we didn't need an appraiser to know what the market value was. You could go with the comps, but you have a client that's sticking to it. You can say, hey, look, I don't want that listing. Or for me, it's like, okay, I'll take the listing because it's a resume builder for me. It's a marketing tool for me for other ventures and other businesses. It's still a win-win. I don't lose anything by taking the listing. Yes, sir.
When you were first starting out, right, your personal real estate investment company, did you have, I know one of the modules is the several sites that you go to for properties that some of them may be
No.
below.
I didn't have that.
You didn't have the properties,
No.
the websites listed?
No. No. Started my business in 2000.
Oh, you said you didn't have it. I thought you said it wasn't in the module. I'm like, I'm sure. I
Oh,
saw
no,
it.
no, no, no. I didn't have that. No.
Okay, so you didn't have that. So
I know. When I was active as a day-to-day investor, there was, and Google wasn't, I don't know, it may have been out, but nobody was using Google, right? This is 2005, 6.
Okay.
So and that's why I just tell you guys what I know. That's my experience. I understand how technology has changed, so I do have referrals through my staff and mentees and proteges and other people that, I know in the industry that are current day-to-day investors. So we are up to date with what systems and processes are used and how you use technology. But I know just through grassroots marketing and building relationships and using filter sources, what I teach, that you could be effective. Everyone gets lazy with all the websites. They're just going to be an at-home investor. See, I was a hit the ground, shake hands, kiss babies, like, let's make real relationships. And I know that works. So, so the advantage of you guys is if you take my, I guess, old school now version of training and implement it with all the new technology that we have, go. Yes, sir.
What's your biggest challenge right now in your real estate investing career?
I would say my biggest challenge is not getting too broad too fast because there's so many opportunities at my disposal. But I can't do everything. But a lot of it sounds good. So the biggest challenge is you have an investor who's invested here, you want to build Black Wall Street here, you want to build a national wholesaling model here, you're doing coaching here, you're teaching here, and you have TV show interviews here, and it's, what do you really want to do, first and foremost, what's your purpose, what do you want to do, and what's most realistic now. So my biggest challenge as an investor is, and it's not really so much me as an investor, it's more my company. My biggest challenge for my company is just for us was creating the models that match exactly what I want to do, which we're going to be rolling out in September, kind of a rebrand to my real estate business, which is Jake Morrison Real Estate, one of the real estate partners. So, excuse me, we'll be offering our national wholesaling model of deals that we get in our investors club. We'll also be doing joint ventures and partnerships and offering our other investor opportunities. So that's like what we're trying to get to. Then my next level is really just doing national kind of REITs or crowdfunding for real estate, and just leveraging my constituency and leveraging my reach to be able to do more pooling of money so that we can execute larger deals together.
I look forward to being someone that has the opportunity to get you to do something. Absolutely.
I look forward to it too, as long as it's profitable.
I'm one of your academy students.
Okay. Are you getting value out of it?
I am. It's a great, changed my life.
Wonderful.
Didn't do any deals yet, but anything worthwhile takes time, takes patience. You have to educate yourself. So I'm not in a rush. I want to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Thank you for making it available.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. And better right than fast.
Exactly.
A lot of times we want to do fast. People are like, well, I've been in the academy 4 weeks, haven't made no money. Like, if you want to go open a dry cleaner, you're not going to make money in the first 4 weeks either. Or a barbershop or any other business. If you want to be a good business, you got to learn how the business operates first. It's a learning process, a learning curve. So that's why we try to teach it the right way. And the value is, and that's why I'm trying to overstate as well. There's a lot of as we all do mature, I mature. And a lot of you have seen about the progression and maturity and evolution of my brain, which have followed me for some time. But we all mature, so the more I mature personally and professionally, just as a businessman, I'm just finding that the true value, the true magic is in the know-how, it's in the education. It's like really knowing how to do something is so much value because you can turn it on and you can turn it off at will when you know. It's like once you really know how to wholesale, once you know how to buy a foot, once you know how to market yourself or brand yourself, you can always turn that on. Like that's like any day of the week. Like my partners and I, it's like every other week somebody starting a new company. Like, oh yeah, I just started because we know how to start a business. So it's like that's I guess what I want you guys to understand is like really dive into knowing it all and really like when you get this education, whether it's from me or anywhere, reading a book or whatever, really dive into knowing it as opposed to trying to speed through it and just get to implementing. Like really know what you're doing, and you'll see more results, and that'll last like forever. So it's like the knowledge base. Knowledge is really the wealth. Like anything you know, if you know how to start a cigar shop, you can go anywhere and start a cigar shop because you know how to do it. You've already been through it before. You know the system. That's kind of what I get to with systems. It's like once you know something, you can always go just turn it on. Always go turn it on. It's like having that perfect pickup line. So you go to any club, you get any girl, you got a perfect line. Yeah, it works every time. What's the laugh? But no, seriously, it's always about having the knowledge base. Yes, sir.
How did you understand what systems you needed to put in place in order to be successful? And then how did you get the people to buy into the system that you wanted to do?
Oh, really good question. I think a lot of it was trial and error in regards to knowing knowing what system. It's kind of just, and it's also like natural talent. Again, just from my survival skills, experience, having to put together things that worked. And so when it came to doing business, it's the same thing in regards to like my message for the community as a civil rights activist. I just look at the black community as a broken system, in a system which it lives in. So I say, well, how does it fix? How does it work? I always work backwards, right? So it's the same thing. If I want to launch XYZ company or do this real estate venture, I just work backwards. What do I need to accomplish this vision? And so what makes people buy in most of the time to when I'm presenting a business or idea or raising money, whatever it is, because it always makes sense.